blah blah blah, read this. I'm not going to be reading all of this because it's just for the people that don't understand what villains are in media and in art, but there is a reason behind why I had to write all that. The first reason is that I always forget that the Drag Race fandom never ages. The average age of the fandom seems to be 16 ever since the show started, or rather since season 6 or so. So year after year I have to re-explain basic concept to them. The main reason actually why I'm making this video again and why I had to say all of this stuff is because I also wanted to talk about all-star seasons and how those seasons have pretty much since the beginning had a problem with storytelling. Whereas the main seasons had good storylines up until season 9, all-stars never really had a good story, except that one time. Out of the 10 All-Stars winners that we've had so far, I would say that only one of them had a good winning storyline. Interestingly enough, the only one that had a good winning storyline was the main villain of her season. But before I talk about each of the winners and their winning stories, I want to mention the reason why I think All-Star seasons have such weird storytelling. In one of my previous videos, I have mentioned that pretty much every single season of All-Stars is cast in mind for a certain queen or a certain type of a queen to win in order to please the audience. A downfall of the regular season storytelling as well, as we saw last week. All-Stars 1 was made for Chad Michaels to win, All-Stars 2 for Alaska, All-Stars 3 for Dayla, but that didn't happen. All-Stars 4's casting minimized the amount of white queens so that the show wouldn't be criticized for crowning another white or white passing queen, but then we all know how that ended. All-Stars 5 was made for Shea, All-Stars 6 was made to rehabilitate Rue's image in the public eye, which is why it had the most trans queens in the cast up to that point, and there was a twist that the show could use to bring back a queen into the near finale if they needed to. All-Star 7 was Drag Race's attempt at cashing in on Survivor's Winners at War success, failing miserably because Survivor did this for its 40th season and Drag Race for its 21st season, and then also Drag Race brought back like 2 legendary queens and that's it. What a grand celebration. However, All-Star 7 was made for the show to show that the All-Stars winners could compete alongside the regular season winners, and not only that, but also be better than them in the competition, explaining to us that winning All-Stars is harder than winning a regular season. But we know how All-Stars 7 ended. All-Stars 8 was made for Jimbo to win and All-Stars 9 for Roxy, but due to the backstage nonsense, they quickly pivoted in the end and crowned Angeria. Drag Race tries to shoehorn an All-Stars winner into the win in order to please the fans, but also to give those queens a specific redemption. However, Drag Race, yet again, always takes the lazy way out and thinks a redemption just means this person does nothing important to the story the entire season and then they win so that the fans wouldn't be mad at us. Chad did not necessarily have to redeem herself from season 4. On that season, she was a strong competitor, a strong presence, but she did end up losing because of the strong story and support that Sharon had during season 4. Ironically though, her story in All-Stars 1 was just that she's a good competitor. The season was short and rushed, so there was not much for the production to work with. But even so, the production went with riding the high of season 4's conclusion of a hero beating a villain in the end and just had Chad beat Raven in the end. And Raven was not a legitimate winner. She did not do well in the competition. Instead, what they could have done, they could have made Chanel and Chad have this friendly rivalry as a strong pair that wins every challenge but the first one, and then they show how Chad just edged Chanel out in the end. Essentially, a more engaging story was replaced by a redemption story where Chad did not need it. We're skipping to All-Stars 3 because All-Stars 3's winner in Trixie Mattel had pretty much no story on that season. The entire cast had something to prove because of what happened in All-Stars 2. We'll talk about that in the end, as they were also often very overlooked during their original seasons. But then, Trixie did not have a single moment in the season where she got a winner edit. She was shown as righteous in the last episode, saying that she thinks that Shangela should be in that final top 2, but that a winner's edit does not make. This season's only villainous queens were the first 3 queens eliminated, and the rest were shown as heroes in varying degrees. I guess you could say Shangela was kind of a villain because she was strategic, but she was also a strong challenge competitor, so not really a villain. I guess Bibi was the closest one to being a villain, as she had eliminated Aja, took credit for her work, and simply rode the wave of her status as the show's first ever winner, never really excelling at anything. But then, we knew that Bibi was not going to win All Stars 3, because she was there to be introduced to the newer fandom, and don't even get me started on the hero edit that Dela got. Trixie basically got nothing in regards to her story, which makes her, to me, the most forgettable All-Stars winner. All-Stars 4 is a touchy one. One of the winners had already got her redemption and her full story was concluded at the end of Season 9. So she just came onto All-Stars 4 like a Chad-esque hero. Somebody who's good at pretty much everything, who's very professional, and who'll most probably win. The other winner did not have a storyline. She was such a non-presence in the season. She did not eliminate any big names. Her only ever episode win, and again, not a top 2 placement, but an episode win, was a double win. That only happened because the production wanted to save and bring back more important queens than her. Everyone but Jasmine Masters had more of a story and a presence, and was more of a character on All Stars 4 than Monet. So her win from the storyline perspective and competition perspective feels like a stunt. She did not grow into a villain like Naomi, she did not redeem her season 10 elimination like Mo, and she did not righteously dominate the competition like Trinity. Kinda like Trixie, she was the least important part of that top 4. All-Stars 5, I've talked about this ad nauseum. Shea did not have a winner story. Scratch that. She barely had a story. She started the season like, "Mwah, the crown was mine, and then Sasha took it." And that's like the last time we heard from her, and that was her only motivation to win. Cracker became a formidable villain who thought that she was a hero, which is a good story, and Jujubee simply blossomed into a hero that was finally good at the competition. Another good story. Even Blair was a good villain, but she ended up being eliminated by not Shea, but Miss Cracker. All-Star 6, we had Eureka returning to the competition, Trinity starting strong and then regressing into her Season 6 self, which got her eliminated. Ginger went from being a villain on Season 7, an NPC on All-Stars 2, and then a hero on All-Star 6 that's also a strong competitor, and Raja went from being a villain, weak competitor on Season 11 to being a hero and a strong competitor on All-Star 6. And who do they crown? Kylie Sonique, whose story was, "I was on Season 2. Okay, so many of us were on Season 2. That's not a winner storyline, nor is it a good redemption, because she did not redeem her competition performance. I mean, in the eyes of the kiddies, she did do that, but we're skipping All-Star 7 because that season did not really have a story other than the one that I have mentioned about All-Stars winners versus regular seasons winners. But All-Stars 8's story was all about the redemption of Jimbo's character, making her turn from a villain to a hero, and amping up Candy's villain edit. It's very clear watching that season back that those edits are very exaggerated, and that the real story was with the queen that just missed out on the finale, Jessica fucking Wild. The edit that Jessica got on All-Stars 8 and how she performed in the competition is how the show wants you to believe Kylie performed on her winning season. And then Jimbo, because fans saw her as having been robbed on Canada's first season and then UK versus the world, she was shown as a hero and then she won against one of the biggest villains of the new era of Drag Race so that the fans again would be happy. All-Stars 9 is the most recent season and it honestly has the most confusing story. I want to talk about this season before I talk about All-Stars 2 because All-Stars 2 is the only Drag Race season when a villain actually won. All-Stars 9, on the other hand, had the winner in Angeria constantly be painted as the villain of the season by Roxy and Vanjie. Roxy got her redemption on All-Stars 2, so this time she was on All-Stars 9 to win the crown. However, she was not her All-Stars 2 self, she was her Season 5 self. It's insane how quickly she turned. Roxy was antagonizing anything that walked during All-Stars 9, Angeria being her main target, of course, and yet the production and the edit treated Roxy as if she was the hero of the story. Angeria, on the other hand, was shown as the villain, even though episode by episode, she literally was not doing anything villainous. So we had a villain edited as a hero, losing to a hero edited as a villain. So Did the villain win here? Maybe. I don't know. But the villain won on All-Stars 2. This season is so good to revisit, because it plays with our emotions as viewers so well. It starts off nicely with Roxy doing a great turn from villain to hero, while also trying to maintain the Rolaska Talks dynamic with Detox and Alaska. Detox has also become way more heroic, but Alaska, she's trying to distance herself from the Rolaska Talks clique now that they are more carefree and not so competition driven. Due to her being so focused on the competition, we watch Alaska as she descends into being one of the show's best villains. Fake crying when eliminating people, eliminating fan favorites, faking a meltdown before the finale, using strategy and easy tricks to win challenges and episodes, and interestingly enough, going back to Rolaska Talks now as their leader after realizing that they have another season 5 final 4 on their hands. There's a great scene in the finale where Alaska, in almost all black, tells Roxy and Detox that the last time it was the three of them and a lovable weirdo, they all lost. But this time, Alaska, as the driving force of the season, goes balls to the walls in the last episode and wins in the end. Granted, having a strong season run, campaigning before the season, and in general being a fan favorite helped her a lot, but on All-Stars 2, we watched a fully fleshed out story of how a villain won. So, Drag Race, instead of doing what All-Stars 2 did and allowing its characters to interact and create a story, after that season tried to force a redemption storyline on every single season and every single season's winner, so as to avoid the backlash of a villain winning a season. However, when Alaska won, the outrage that parts of the fandom felt was exactly why the season was so good. Alaska's dominance was undeniable, and the fact that she was a villain is what made it so frustrating to watch. We're not often used to stories where the bad guy wins in the end, but when it happens, and when it's done right, it can be even more satisfying than the cookie cutter ending of when a hero wins.